Well, Richard, your campaign has been bolstering you up as hard on crime. Illinoisans want a safer Illinois. What specific steps would you take to ensure this happens?
There are a number of things that we've got to do to make sure that we address the crime that's spinning out of control in the state of Illinois under J.B. Pritzker's leadership. And that's exactly why I've got so many endorsements from law enforcement agencies across the state, because they believe I'm that person to do exactly that. We've got endorsements from the Illinois FOP, Labor Council, the Chicago FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, as well as the governor's own police agency, Illinois State Police Troopers, which is one of the largest agencies in the state, the largest in the state, as well as 20 different sheriffs in 20 different counties throughout the state of Illinois, spanning from north, central to southern Illinois. And I'll tell you, what I told them and what we've practiced in the city of Aurora to reduce Aurora, to take Aurora from one of the most violent cities per capita in the state of Illinois, with over 30 murders a year, to making it one of the 6 safest large cities in America, per Wallet Hub. And what we did was we focused on making sure we took the handcuffs off of the police and put them on the criminals. One of the first things we've got to do, once I'm elected governor, is we've got to claw back and repeal what the governor calls, J.B. Pritzker calls a safety act, which is not safe at all. It's actually very unsafe, and it's a I hate the police act, because it takes the power away from the police to do their job and gives more consideration to criminals than to the victims and the police that keep us safe every day. I got 2 words that I use when we talk about crime, and that's respect and protect. Respect our police, the folks that get out there and put their life on the line every single day to keep us safe, and protect our community, our residents and our children that need someone to step up and make sure they look out for their interests. And we do that by focusing on what I call the 3 C's: children, cops, community. Any community, you can change the makeup of the community if you focus on these 3 C's. The first C, children. When I say children, I'm talking about getting kids in productive programs. Most of the crimes being committed are being committed by young people. So we got to start at junior high school age to make sure we get our kids engaged off the street into schools and other programs to ensure their success. The second C is cops. When I say cops, I'm talking about community-oriented police officers. We've got to return to the beat cop, the cop that is actually in the community and knows the community. And instead of being the paramilitary force sitting around in their black and white waiting for something to happen, they're in the community working with the neighbors to be proactive instead of reactive. The third and final C is community, the community itself. You've got to empower the community. I don't care how many people you arrest, even in a low-income area. I don't care how many people you arrest. If you don't empower the community to take their community back and take pride and stake in their community, that crime is going to return. And if you add those 3 C's with what we did in Aurora, economic development and jobs, you'll have prosperity and you'll reduce crime substantially. We can do that and more for the state of Illinois, because all Illinois is a compilation of cities just like Aurora, 1,200 cities throughout the state of Illinois. We can use that same formula throughout the state and improve crime throughout Illinois and return it to the true land of Lincoln and bring pride back to our state.
Well, we're seeing some major concern this summer on the power grid. Energy prices on homeowners and renters are about to double and triple. What steps would you take to halt the hike in prices?
Now, under J.B. Pritzker, not only is crime out of control, taxes and wasteful spending is out of control too. One of the things that we've got to do is we've got to reduce the level of taxes for our power. For gas, for example, is up over $5 a gallon. Now, we have an Illinois state tax that's in 2 parts. Part of the state tax goes to roads, and the other part of the sales tax for gas goes to roads. The other part of the sales tax goes to our general budget. And we've got to reduce that and give our residents some relief at the pump, up to 20 to 30 cents right off the bat. But what we do is we look in Illinois to become energy independent. J.B. Pritzker signed some of the most restrictive laws focusing on, green energy. And, people are mistaken. They think that Republicans don't care about, protecting the environment. We have children and families too, and we're looking for the future. But you've got to have balance. Illinois is a state that has the opportunity to be energy independent, with our coal deposits, with our oil deposits. But what we do now is we transport oil and coal in instead of mining our own and trying to be energy independent. We'd focus on being energy independent and weigh how we use our energy, and how we pass legislation to take those jobs in the energy field away from our residents of Illinois. We should be making sure they have more jobs in the energy industry instead of taking them away. So my job as governor would be to focus on bringing more jobs, as well as making sure we can ensure that we've got clean energy. We can send people to the moon and we send rovers to Mars, but so if we can do that, we can ensure that we burn coal and gas a lot cleaner.
Well, Illinois is one of the biggest pro-choice states in the country. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, Governor Pritzker wants to make Illinois an abortion oasis for the Midwest. Are you supportive of that idea, or would you work with legislators to make the state more pro-life?
Listen, what's a shame is that Governor Pritzker is using this as one of his campaign talking points, and that's a crying shame. This is a serious issue that has been debated, for decades on the right and left. But he is making it a key point of his campaign because he doesn't have anything else to talk about, because he knows that crime is out of control under his leadership. Taxes and wasteful spending is out of control, and corruption is out of control under J.B. Pritzker. So he wants to talk about anything else other than what's staring him in the face, what we need to do to address and fix the issues in Illinois. Listen, I'm pro-life, and what I hear when I drive around the state of Illinois from our residents is they don't like these extreme policies that J.B. Pritzker has been taking. Just a week and a half ago, something expired in the state of Illinois, parental notification. J.B. Pritzker signed a law into effect that now allows a teenager right now, 13, 14, 15, to go into an abortion clinic and get an abortion without their parent being notified. A kid can't get an aspirin, a high schooler, an aspirin in high school, without their parents' consent, their parents' knowledge, and most of the time consent. But he thinks it's okay for a teenager to walk into an abortion clinic and get a serious medical procedure without their parent being notified. That's abhorrent. And that's something that I think across the spectrum, folks will agree that we should claw that back and reinstate parental notification immediately.
Well, Richard, I saw you pulled TV ads from downstate Illinois are now focusing on Chicagoland. What's the reasoning behind this move?
Well, as we get to the last 2.5 weeks of the campaign, we've got to, reset and make sure that we finish strong and get across that finish line first. 52% of the electorate is in the Chicago and suburban area. So we're assessing, how we can use our campaign the strongest throughout the state to make sure that we finish strong and cross that finish line first and face J.B. Pritzker, in the general. In the last 2.5 weeks, most of the campaigns are changing up strategy and assessing, how to be effective going forward. And we've got plenty of funds to make sure that we get our message out to the folks in Illinois. But let me tell you who's not changing their strategy: J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker is spending an historic amount of money, over $30 million. A Democrat meddling in a Republican primary, $30 million to ensure that I don't cross that finish line. He's using his money in a Republican primary to tear me down and to lift one of my opponents, Darren Bailey, up. And so people should be clear. If he's spending that much money in a Republican primary, there's got to be a reason why. Because he knows my record of success as the mayor of the second largest city in Illinois, and a prosecutor, putting criminals behind bars, a mayor reducing taxes, reducing crime, reducing property taxes every single year I've been mayor, doing economic development and attracting new businesses, new residents. He knows if you match my successes to his failures as governor of the state, that I'll win. So he is spending massive amounts of money, the most money in the history of this nation that any Democrat has spent in a Republican primary in the history of this nation. And he's doing it, to try to shut me down and lift Darren Bailey up. So what's clear, and what should be clear to all the voters, a vote for Darren Bailey is a vote for J.B. Pritzker, because that's who J.B. Pritzker wants to be matched up with in the general, because he knows he can beat Darren Bailey. He knows if he faces me, he's going to lose. So he's spending as much money as possible.
And today we're told some Republicans are upset with the treatment of downstate Illinois. They're going to appear at a scheduled appearance you're making in Tazewell County. They tell us they're upset with the tactics that we just discussed. What's your response to them?
Well, they should be upset with J.B. Pritzker, that J.B. Pritzker is meddling in a Republican primary. They should be absolutely upset. As I said, this is an unprecedented amount of money that he's spending, unprecedented amount of money that he's spending to make sure that I don't cross that finish line first, because he knows I have the most conservative values as a mayor of Aurora, reducing crime by supporting our men and women that wear the badge, by reducing property taxes every single year that I've been mayor, by attracting new businesses and new residents. These are successes that he does not want to see matched up against his failures as governor. So they should absolutely come and protest J.B. Pritzker for meddling in a Republican primary.
An ad against you claims you called Donald Trump an idiot and a bigoted racist. It showed text messages. Did you send these texts?
Listen, all conspiracy theories put out by my detractors. Listen, the Trump administration has done great things for our country and for our Americans, reducing taxes, creating opportunity zones, putting economic development in areas that are needed most, supporting men and women of law enforcement. These are all things that I've used in Aurora to great extent and to great success. And these are things that J.B. Pritzker don't want me to get to the general and talk about, which is why he's spending this unprecedented amount of money to make sure that he tries to defeat me and lift up my opponent, Darren Bailey, because he knows he can beat Darren Bailey. So, let's try to, wade through all the noise out there and focus on what the Democrats are already focused on, that I am the biggest threat to J.B. Pritzker and the only Republican that's a threat to J.B. Pritzker, which is why they're trying to stop me in my tracks in the primary election.
So would you say that claim made against you was a lie on behalf of the Pritzker campaign?
The Pritzker campaign is doing everything they can to try to disparage me, my good name, and all my successes, all of them. But listen, you don't even have to ask me about what I'm going to do when I'm governor of the state of Illinois. All my other opponents, you gotta take their word for it. You don't have to ask me and take my word for it. All you have to do is look at my record. Look at my record as a prosecutor, putting violent criminals behind bars, as crime spins out of control in Illinois, in Chicagoland, in suburbs, in the central and southern parts of Illinois. It's spinning out of control. And I had the background experience on how to address it. Aurora was one of the, as I pointed out, one of the most violent cities per capita in the state of Illinois. With over 30 murders a year. And now we're one of the safest cities in America, the sixth safest large state in America, because of what we put in place in supporting our police. When we raised the police budget, crime went down. As simple as that. Supporting our men and women in law enforcement is what we need to do to make sure that we have a law and order state. Right now, our state is spiraling into disorder and lawlessness. And it's only going to get worse. Come January 1st, when cashless bail goes into effect, all violent criminals, felons that break the law no longer have to post bond, get out of jail immediately. And then that same, according to this new law that J.B. Pritzker signed, has the opportunity, can go to any police department and make an anonymous complaint against that same officer that arrested them, that complaint that will stay in that officer's record for the rest of their career. They're making it almost impossible for anybody to want to even be the police anymore. Every time you turn on the TV, you hear kids getting killed. J.B. Pritzker does nothing. You hear cops getting shot, 3 of them just last week in Chicago alone. J.B. Pritzker does nothing. Kid in Millennium Park, in Chicago, one of the most trafficked areas in the state, where people come and visit. Somebody gets shot there. There's been 10 police officers that have been killed in the line of duty, executed, since J.B. Pritzker signed that law. And those officers have been shot all throughout the state of Illinois, from the north to the central to the southern part, because J.B. Pritzker sent a message that he doesn't care about our police and our law enforcement. He cares about the criminals more than the victims and the people and the law enforcement officers that try to keep us safe, which is why I've got endorsements and support from law enforcement throughout the state of Illinois.
Well, I saw this morning a Chicago Sun-Times poll. I'm sure you've seen it as well. It states Darren Bailey leads the poll with nearly twice the amount of voters as you in this specific poll. How do you plan to win people over and convince them to vote for you and not for Darren Bailey?
Listen, we got 2.5 weeks left in this campaign. And 2.5 weeks in politics is a lifetime. My campaign is gonna, is the only one with the organization to get out our message throughout this state. Matter of fact, we've already made 200,000 calls and texts. Every single week, we knock on 30,000 doors and have 30,000 direct contacts with voters. And we're going to continue that. As we continue to tell the message that a vote for Darren Bailey is a vote for J.B. Pritzker, because if you vote for Darren Bailey, J.B. Pritzker is going to win, and all this we're talking about, all the debate we have back and forth means nothing, because that governor is going to stay in office and continue to drive the state of Illinois into the ground. I've been saying the whole time, that what we need to do is rise up and take this state back. When people that look like me and think like all of us actually stand up and make a difference, it becomes a threat to the system. We are their worst nightmare. And J.B. Pritzker recognizes that, which is why he's spending an unprecedented amount of money, a Democrat in the Republican primary, to make sure I don't cross the line first. We got to send that message to everybody and let them know that a vote for Darren Bailey is a vote for J.B. Pritzker. And we don't want J.B. Pritzker to be reelected again. So vote for the Irvin-born team.